The Vietnam War was a long, costly armed conflict that pitted the communist regime of North Vietnam and its southern allies, known as the Viet Cong, against South Vietnam and its principal ally, the United States. The adhesive war, increasingly unpopular at home, ended with the withdrawal of U.S. forces in 1973 and the unification of Vietnam under communist control 2 years later. More than 3 million people, including 58,000 Americans, were killed in the conflict.
I was in the Vietnam War for 3 years. I spent a little over 21 years in the Air Force. 3 of it was in Vietnam. I loved it in this sense. I don't love being at war because I don't care how good you are at your job. You can be the best fighter pilot. I was a navigator. My eyes were 20/50, so I couldn't go to pilot training, but I was a navigator. And as a navigator on a C-130, those 2 airplanes.
A navigator is the person on board a ship or aircraft responsible for its navigation. The navigator's primary responsibility is to be aware of ship or aircraft position at all times. Responsibilities include planning the journey, advising the ship's captain or aircraft commander of estimated timing to destinations while en route, and ensuring hazards are avoided. The navigator is in charge of maintaining the aircraft or ship's nautical charts, nautical publications, and navigational equipment, and generally has responsibility for meteorological equipment and communications.
The Lockheed C-130 Hercules is a 4-engine turboprop military transport aircraft designed and built originally by Lockheed. The aircraft had a wingspan of 133 feet and a length of 98 feet, combining to make a top speed of 368 miles per hour.
Down that way, you have a radar and you keep that airplane out of the mountaintops because you're flying down through valleys in bad weather. You can't see the mountains. You have to fly sometimes through basically hurricanes, monsoon season, where you got tops up to 55, 60,000 feet, and they're spitting out hail, and updrafts and downdrafts can snap the wings off your airplane. And the navigator has to pick a spot sometimes to go through these things because it might be 120, 150 miles to go around it. They're so large, they're like almost approaching 1,000 miles, the length of these things as they're moving in Southeast Asia. And so you have to know what you're doing. And I enjoyed it, I loved it. They had. Now I flew in Vietnam and I never really got that feeling that our country's at risk. We were in Vietnam to stop the aggression of communism, and the spread of communism was what I felt. That's why we were there. And we didn't accomplish that because the enemy